The world talks a lot about fear when it comes to the rapture. Movies show panic. News shows chaos. People imagine sirens, screams, and confusion. But what if that's not the full picture? What if, for believers, it's not terror at all? What if it's peace? Think about it for a second. While the world is chasing money, status, and survival, there are people quietly preparing their hearts, not stocking bunkers, not running away, but praying, trusting, walking closer with Christ every day. And something changes inside them, because rapture readiness isn't just about escaping the world, it's about transforming who you are right now. It starts small, a simple prayer before sleep, a Bible verse in the morning, choosing kindness when anger feels easier, forgiving when your ego says don't, trusting God when life doesn't make sense. Little by little, your heart gets lighter. The anxiety that used to control you fades. The fear of tomorrow softens. The pressure to prove yourself disappears because you realize something powerful. You're not living for this world anymore. You're living for eternity. And that changes everything. Suddenly, you walk differently. There's a calm in your eyes. People notice. They ask, how are you so peaceful when everything is falling apart? And you don't even try to explain it, because it's not something you learned, it's something you received. A peace that doesn't depend on the economy, a strength that doesn't depend on circumstances, a confidence that doesn't depend on people's opinions. This is what happens when your heart is ready. You stop fearing the future because you know who holds it. You stop chasing temporary rewards because you're promised something eternal. Imagine waking up every day knowing you are forgiven, you are chosen, you are protected, you are loved by the Creator of the universe. That kind of truth gives you strength the world can't understand. Bills may still come, problems may still happen, storms may still rise, but inside you're steady, like an anchor dropped deep into the ocean floor, unshaken, unmoved, certain. And that certainty turns into confidence. Not pride, not arrogance, but quiet confidence. The kind that says, no matter what happens, I belong to Christ. That's the real reward. Not gold streets, not crowns, not even heaven itself. It's the relationship, knowing Jesus personally, talking to Him like a friend, trusting Him like a father, leaning on Him when everything else collapses. Because when you walk closely with Christ, fear loses its voice, doubt loses its power, temptation loses its control. You start choosing purity without forcing it, choosing love without struggling, choosing faith without questioning every step. And people around you start to feel it too. Your home feels warmer, your words feel gentler, your presence feels safer. You become light in dark places, hope in hopeless rooms, strength for tired hearts, all because you decided to stay ready, not someday, not later, right now. Because readiness isn't about watching the sky every day, it's about preparing your soul every day. It's about living like Jesus could call your name at any moment and smiling instead of shaking. Imagine hearing that trumpet, not with fear, but with excitement, not hiding, but lifting your face, not saying wait, but saying I'm ready. And in that moment, when the light breaks through the clouds, when heaven feels closer than the air you breathe, when every promise you ever believed suddenly feels real, your heart doesn't race with panic. It fills with peace so deep, so warm, so overwhelming that everything else fades away, and you just stand there, steady, confident, knowing that every prayer, every tear, Every act of faith was leading you exactly to this moment, and the light keeps growing brighter, wrapping around you, lifting the weight of the world off your shoulders, pulling you closer and closer, and you take one step forward, then another, feeling stronger than you ever have in your life, feeling lighter, freer, alive in a way you've never known before, as the sky opens wider and the call becomes clearer, and your spirit rises with a certainty that this is home, that this is what you were made for, and you keep moving toward that brilliant, endless glow.
And as that light grows brighter, something inside you begins to change even more. It's not just excitement anymore. It's clarity. For the first time, everything makes sense. All the struggles you went through, all the nights you cried alone, all the prayers you thought God didn't hear, they weren't wasted. They were shaping you. Every disappointment was training your faith. Every delay was building patience. Every closed door was quietly guiding you somewhere better. You start to see your life differently, not as random moments, not as accidents, but as steps, carefully placed steps. Like God was holding your hand the entire time, even when you couldn't feel Him. And suddenly the fear of what if disappears, because you realize nothing was ever out of control. Not your pain, not your past, not your future. Everything was part of a bigger design. And that realization brings a strength that's hard to explain. It's the kind of strength that lets you walk into chaos without panic, the kind that lets you smile when others are losing hope, the kind that says, "God's got me," and actually means it. You notice how different you've become. Things that used to stress you out don't hit the same. Arguments don't pull you in. Jealousy doesn't touch your heart. You don't feel the need to compete anymore. Because what are you competing for? Temporary things? Temporary applause? Temporary success? When eternity is waiting? When heaven is real? When Christ Himself is calling you closer? The world starts to feel smaller. Not less important, just less powerful. Like it doesn't control you anymore. You go to work, you talk to people, you live your normal life. But inside, there's this quiet awareness. This isn't my final home. And that thought doesn't make you sad. It makes you peaceful, because you know something better is coming. So you start living differently. You forgive faster, you love deeper, you help without expecting anything back, you pray for strangers, you speak hope instead of gossip. You choose patience when anger tries to rise, not because you're perfect, but because your heart is pointed toward heaven. And when your heart is pointed toward heaven, your actions follow. People begin to notice it more clearly now. They ask you questions. How are you so calm lately? Why don't you worry like everyone else? What changed about you? And sometimes you don't even know what to say. Because it wasn't one big moment. It wasn't one miracle. It was daily surrender, small choices, quiet faith, trusting God when nothing looked certain. And those small choices built something powerful inside you, a foundation. So when the world shakes, you don't. When bad news spreads, you stay steady. When others feel lost, you feel guided, like there's a light constantly leading you forward. Not a loud light, not dramatic, just soft, steady, faithful, like a lamp in the dark, step by step. And the closer you walk with Christ, the more you realize something beautiful. Rapture readiness isn't about escaping punishment. It's about relationship. It's about knowing Him so well that when He calls your name, you recognize His voice instantly, like a child recognizing their father, like a friend recognizing a familiar laugh. No confusion, no doubt, just certainty. And that certainty feels warm, secure, unbreakable. You start to crave time with him more, moments alone, moments of prayer, moments where the world goes quiet and it's just you and God. Because those moments refill your soul. They remind you who you are, not what the world labels you, not your mistakes, not your failures, but who God says you are. Chosen, forgiven, loved beyond measure. And when you truly believe that, confidence rises naturally. Not loud confidence, not showy confidence, but deep, steady confidence. The kind that lets you walk through life with your head high and your heart humble. The kind that makes storms feel smaller. The kind that turns ordinary days into blessings. You wake up grateful. You sleep peacefully. Even uncertainty doesn't scare you anymore. Because no matter what tomorrow brings, you already know how the story ends. And that knowledge fills your chest with this quiet courage as you keep walking forward, step by step, breathing in that calm assurance, feeling that invisible hand guiding you, feeling that unseen presence surrounding you, carrying you through every moment, every decision, every breath, like you're being gently prepared for something greater, something closer, something just beyond the horizon. And you keep moving with that same steady heart.
And the more you walk with that quiet assurance, the more you begin to notice something else happening around you. The world hasn't changed. The headlines are still loud. Wars, disasters, confusion, fear everywhere. People rushing, people arguing, people chasing things that never really satisfy. But somehow, you're not running with them anymore. It's like you stepped out of the noise, like you're standing in the middle of a storm, yet untouched by the rain. Not because life is easy, but because your heart is anchored to something unshakable, to someone unshakable. You start to see how fragile everything here really is. Money comes and goes. Fame fades fast. Trends change overnight. Even plans fall apart without warning. But God, He never changes. His promises don't expire. His love doesn't fluctuate. His word doesn't fail. And realizing that makes everything else look temporary, almost weightless. So you stop holding the world so tightly. You stop stressing over every little thing. You stop trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. Instead, you trust, not blindly, but deeply, like a child holding a father's hand while crossing a busy street. You don't know every detail, but you know you're safe. And that safety gives you courage. Courage to live boldly, courage to speak truth, courage to stand for your faith even when others laugh. Because now you understand something powerful. If the rapture is real, if eternity is real, if heaven is truly your home, then why live scared? Why live small? Why hide your faith? So you begin to shine differently, not in a flashy way, but in a steady, gentle way, like a candle in a dark room. And even a small candle changes everything. People feel it when they're near you. They feel peace. They feel comfort. They feel hope. Some don't even know why. They just know being around you feels lighter, safer, warmer. And that's when you realize this readiness isn't just for you, it's for others too. Because when you're prepared, you help others prepare. When you're strong, you lift others up. When you're calm, you calm the storm around you. Your faith becomes contagious. Your peace spreads quietly. Your life becomes a living message without you even trying. And sometimes, late at night, when everything is still, you look up at the sky. The same sky people ignore every day, but you look at it differently now. You imagine that moment, the trumpet, the call, the instant everything changes. And instead of fear, there's anticipation, like waiting for someone you love to finally come home, like waiting at the door, heart beating fast, knowing any second now. And you whisper a simple prayer. Lord, keep me ready. Not perfect, just ready. Ready in heart, ready in faith, ready in love. Because you understand it's not about knowing the exact date. It's about living like it could be today. So every morning becomes meaningful. Every prayer becomes deeper. Every act of kindness becomes intentional. You don't want to waste time anymore. Not on bitterness, not on hate, not on things that don't matter in eternity. You start choosing what lasts. Faith over fear, grace over anger, hope over doubt, light over darkness. And step by step, day by day, you feel yourself becoming lighter inside, like the burdens you used to carry are slowly falling off your shoulders, like chains you didn't even know were there are breaking quietly one by one. And the closer you draw to Christ, the more your heart beats in rhythm with His promises, the more your spirit feels awake, alert, watching, listening, expecting, as if something beautiful is approaching, something just beyond sight, something you can almost feel in the air, like the atmosphere itself is shifting, like heaven isn't far away anymore, but closer than ever, closer than your next breath. And you keep walking forward with that same steady faith, that same quiet confidence, that same unshaken hope growing stronger inside you.
And that quiet confidence doesn't fade when the sun comes up. It follows you into everyday life, into ordinary mornings, into simple routines, into the small, unnoticed moments most people rush past. You wake up before the alarm sometimes, not because you have to, but because something inside you feels alert, like your soul is awake before your body. The room is still dark, the world is silent, and for a few seconds, everything feels suspended. No noise, no pressure, just peace. You sit up slowly, take a deep breath, and whisper a prayer without even thinking. Thank you for another day. Not because life is perfect, but because every day feels like a gift now, a chance to grow closer, a chance to love better, a chance to be ready. You open your window and the cool air touches your face. The sky is painted with soft orange and gold, and for a moment it almost looks like heaven is brushing against earth, like the clouds themselves are glowing with promise. And you wonder, what if today is the day? What if at any moment everything changes? But instead of panic, you smile, because your heart isn't hiding anymore. It isn't running anymore. It's prepared. And that preparation changes how you treat people. You become more patient, more gentle, more forgiving, because suddenly grudges feel heavy, arguments feel pointless, holding anger feels exhausting. Why carry bitterness into eternity? So you let things go faster. You forgive quicker. You say, I'm sorry, without pride. You say, I love you more often, because deep down you know time is precious. Every conversation might matter more than you think. Every goodbye might be the last one before glory. And that realization makes even simple moments sacred. A laugh with family, a meal together, a random act of kindness, a stranger's smile. All of it feels bigger now, like small pieces of something eternal.
Meanwhile, the world keeps chasing distractions, scrolling endlessly, arguing endlessly, worrying endlessly. But you feel different, like you're living with your eyes lifted instead of buried in the ground. You still work, you still plan, you still live normally, but there's this quiet awareness inside you, like a watchman standing on the wall, alert, expecting, listening for that sound, that trumpet, that call. And sometimes when you read the Bible, certain verses hit deeper than ever before. They will rise, we shall be changed, caught up together. Those words don't feel symbolic anymore. They feel alive, real, personal, like promises written directly to you. You picture it in a blink, in a heartbeat, gravity losing its grip, pain disappearing, fear dissolving, tears gone forever, and meeting Christ face to face, not through faith, but through sight. That thought alone fills your chest with something too big to explain. Not excitement, not relief, something stronger, something holy, like home, like finally arriving where you were always meant to be. And because of that hope, you start walking differently through this world, not clinging to it, not fearing it, but passing through it like a traveler. Because this place isn't your final stop. You're just passing by, just preparing, just learning, just growing. Your real home is ahead, so every step feels lighter, every burden feels smaller, every storm feels temporary. Even when life gets hard, really hard, you don't break the way you used to, because deep inside, a voice keeps whispering, "This isn't the end. This isn't forever. Something better is coming." And that whisper carries you forward, through doubts, through struggles, through long nights, through unanswered prayers, because you know, even if everything around you shakes, even if the world grows darker, even if chaos increases, the promise still stands, unmoved, unbroken, waiting. And as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, you feel that expectation growing stronger, like the air before a storm, like the quiet before a grand entrance, like history itself is holding its breath, and every sunrise feels like another reminder, every sunset feels like another signal, every heartbeat feels like a countdown you don't even see. And you keep walking with that same steady faith, that same gentle fire burning inside your chest, that same readiness shaping every choice, every thought, every prayer, moving forward calmly, watching, trusting, believing, eyes lifted toward the sky, as if at any moment the clouds could part and the light could break through.
And that light in the sky almost feels closer now. Not brighter, not louder, just closer. Like something unseen is slowly moving toward Earth, like history is leaning forward, like time itself is walking on tiptoes. You step outside. The streets look normal, cars passing, people rushing, phones ringing, coffee shops opening. Everything looks the same, but somehow it doesn't feel the same. Because now you see life differently. You notice how fragile everything really is, how quickly things change, how one moment can flip everything upside down. One call, one headline, 1 second, and suddenly the world isn't as stable as people think. Markets crash, storms rise, nations argue, fear spreads fast. Everyone searching for answers, everyone asking what's happening to the world. But deep inside, you already know something bigger is unfolding. Not chaos without meaning, not random disasters, but signs, pieces of a larger story, like puzzle parts slowly locking into place. And instead of fear, there's clarity, because Scripture warned about this. Wars, confusion, moral decline, people loving comfort more than truth. It's not surprising you anymore. It confirms what you already believed. It reminds you this world was never meant to last forever. It was always temporary,
like a stage set before the final act. And that thought changes how you hold things. Money doesn't control you like before. Status doesn't impress you like before. Trends don't pull you like before, because you keep asking yourself, will this matter in eternity? If the answer is no, you let it go. If the answer is yes, you hold it close. Faith, character, kindness, obedience. Those things suddenly feel priceless. You start investing more time in prayer, not out of duty, but out of desire, because talking to God feels real now, closer, personal, like you're not speaking into the air anymore, like someone is actually listening, right there, right now. Sometimes you just sit quietly, no fancy words, no long speech, just silence, just presence. And that silence feels full, comforting, heavy with peace, like being wrapped in something invisible. You read your Bible slower too, not rushing chapters, not checking boxes, but tasting every line. Every verse feels alive. Every verse feels like preparation, like instructions for travelers waiting for their ride home. And when you look around at other believers, you notice it in them too. That same calm fire, that steady hope, eyes that say, "We're ready." There's this unspoken connection, like soldiers waiting together before dawn, quiet, alert, trusting their commander. No panic, just expectation. Even suffering feels different now. When life hurts, when prayers seem delayed, when tears fall late at night, you don't collapse like before, because pain feels temporary, like rain before sunlight, like labor before birth, like something that will pass. You whisper to yourself, hold on, just a little longer, something greater is coming. And those words carry weight, real weight, because you truly believe them. Then, one evening, the sky turns deep orange, clouds stretching wide across the horizon, almost glowing, almost unreal. You stop walking for a second, just staring, heart beating a little faster, because for the smallest moment, it looks exactly like the pictures you imagined. Heaven touching earth, light breaking through darkness, and you feel that quiet question again. What if? What if it's sooner than we think? Not someday, not years from now, but soon, very soon. And instead of fear, your heart fills with warmth, because you're not trying to escape the world. You're simply ready to meet the one who saved you, ready to see his face, ready to hear his voice, ready to finally understand everything. So you keep living, keep loving, keep forgiving, keep preparing, not rushing, not forcing, just walking faithfully, step by step, breath by breath, day by day, with that steady awareness humming beneath everything, like background music you never turn off. And even now, as the wind moves softly, as the sky slowly darkens, as the world keeps spinning like nothing is different, you can't shake the feeling that something invisible is aligning, something eternal is drawing nearer, something promised long ago is quietly approaching, and your spirit stays awake, listening, watching, waiting, moving forward with that same steady certainty, like the next heartbeat could change everything, and yet you simply keep walking, eyes lifted, heart steady, ready.
Ready, but not restless. Waiting, but not worried. It's strange how those two things can exist together. Most people think waiting means anxiety, checking the clock, counting days, feeling impatient. But this kind of waiting feels different. It feels peaceful, like sitting on a porch at sunset, knowing someone you love is on their way home. You're not nervous. You're expectant. There's a quiet joy underneath everything.
And that joy changes how you walk through the day. Even the small things feel meaningful now. The sound of birds in the morning, the way sunlight hits the sidewalk, the laughter of kids playing down the street. Little details you used to ignore suddenly feel precious, like God is whispering through ordinary life. Take a look. This too is a gift. So you slow down, you notice more, you rush less. Because why hurry through moments God designed for you to experience? Why sprint through life when eternity is already secured? And the slower you walk, the clearer everything becomes. You see how tired people really are. Tired of chasing, tired of pretending, tired of carrying worries they were never meant to carry. You see it in their eyes, that constant pressure, that invisible weight, and something inside you aches for them, because you remember when you felt that way too, before hope settled in, before faith felt solid, before your heart learned how to rest. So now you speak softer, kinder, you listen more, you judge less, because you realize some people don't need arguments, they need light. They need someone calm in the middle of their storm. And without even trying, you become that person. Not because you're stronger, not because you're special, but because you've surrendered. Because when you give your fears to God, your hands become free to help others. When you stop fighting for control, you finally have peace to share. And that peace keeps growing, like roots spreading deeper underground. Storms still come. Bad days still happen. Unexpected problems still show up. But now they don't shake you the same way. They hit and then fade. Because your foundation isn't built on circumstances anymore. It's built on promises. Promises that don't break. Promises that outlast this world. Sometimes you catch yourself imagining that moment again. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. You picture standing somewhere ordinary, maybe at work, maybe walking outside, maybe talking with someone. And then suddenly, everything changes. A sound, a flash of light, time almost stopping. And in that instant, every worry you ever had just disappears like smoke. Bills, stress, regret, pain, all gone, like they never existed. And only one thing remains: Him, Jesus, closer than breath, closer than your own thoughts, calling you by name, not shouting, not distant, but gentle, certain, loving, the way only He could say it. And just imagining that makes your chest tighten with emotion. Because that voice, that face, that moment is the reason you kept believing all along. It's the reason you chose faith when doubt was easier. It's the reason you kept praying when nothing seemed to change. It's the reason you forgave when it hurt. Because deep down, you always knew it would be worth it. Every sacrifice, every tear, every lonely night, worth it. So you keep preparing your heart quietly, cleaning out bitterness, letting go of pride, dropping old habits that don't belong anymore. Not out of fear of punishment, but out of love. Like cleaning your house before an honored guest arrives. Not because you have to, but because you want everything ready, because you care, because He matters. And the closer you walk with Him, the lighter your spirit feels, almost like gravity has less pull, almost like you're already halfway between earth and heaven, like your soul doesn't fully belong here anymore, like you're just passing through, learning, growing, waiting for that final call. And nights feel deeper now too. When the stars come out, you look up longer than before. The sky feels endless, mysterious, alive. You wonder how many times people stared at these same stars throughout history, waiting for the same promise. Generations hoping, praying, watching. And now it's your turn in the story, your season of waiting. And instead of feeling small, it feels sacred, like heaven has always been moving to this exact moment. And you keep walking forward with that same steady heart, that same gentle faith humming inside your chest, feeling that quiet pull upward, like something unseen is drawing you closer little by little, like every day is another step towards something glorious, something just beyond sight, something so near you can almost feel it in the air around you. And you breathe in slowly, eyes lifted, spirit awake, moving through the world calmly, faithfully, expectantly.
Expectantly. Like every step you take is guided by something you can't see but completely trust. Days don't feel random anymore. They feel assigned, placed, like each morning has purpose written into it before you even open your eyes. You start treating time differently, not wasting hours on things that drain your soul, not drowning in noise that doesn't matter, because you've realized something simple but powerful. Time is the one thing you can never get back. And if eternity is real, then every minute here is preparation. So even the quiet moments feel important. Folding clothes, driving alone, sitting in traffic, walking through a store. Moments that used to feel boring now feel like space to think, to pray, to breathe. You whisper small prayers without even noticing. Guide me today. Use me somehow. Keep my heart clean. Little sentences, short, honest, but they feel heavy with meaning. Because now your relationship with God isn't formal or forced, it's constant, like He's walking beside you instead of far away, like you're talking to a friend, not shouting into the sky. And sometimes you catch yourself smiling for no clear reason. Nothing big happened, no miracle, no sudden blessing, just peace, a quiet inner peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. The kind of peace that doesn't make sense to people watching you. They might ask, "How are you so calm all the time?" And you don't even know how to explain it. How do you explain trust that deep? How do you explain knowing you're held even when life feels uncertain? It's not something you argue, it's something you carry, like invisible armor, like a shield around your heart. Fear tries to get in, but it can't stay long. Doubt knocks, but it doesn't live there anymore, because your mind keeps going back to one truth. God already knows the end of the story. And if He knows the end, why panic in the middle? So instead of worrying about what if, you start living in even if. Even if things go wrong, He's still good. Even if plans fail, He's still faithful. Even if the world shakes, He's still in control. That mindset changes everything. You stop needing guarantees. You stop demanding signs. You just walk, faithfully, steady, like someone crossing a bridge they didn't build, but fully trusts. And the closer you get to that mindset, the more detached you feel from the world's chaos. Not uncaring, just unchained. News doesn't crush you like before. Drama doesn't hook you like before, because you see how temporary it all is. It's like watching waves crash on the shore, loud, messy, but always passing, while something deeper, something eternal remains still underneath. Your heart lives in that deeper place now. And late at night, when everything is silent again, you sometimes sit by the window or lie awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about how close heaven might really be. Not millions of miles away, not unreachable, but right here, just beyond a thin veil, like another room separated by a door you can't see yet. And one day, that door simply opens. No struggle, no effort, just open. And you step through, from time into eternity, from faith into sight, from waiting into fulfillment. Just imagining it sends this warm rush through your chest. Not excitement like a thrill ride, but something softer, safer, like finally going home after being away for too long. And you realize you're not afraid of that moment anymore, not even a little, because you're not clinging to this world the way you used to. You're grateful for it, but you're not attached to it. There's a difference. Grateful, but ready. Living fully, but prepared to leave. Smiling, but watching the sky. And that balance feels beautiful, healthy, strong. So you keep doing what you've always done, working, helping, loving, praying, laughing with friends, spending time with family, living your normal life. But underneath it all, there's this constant awareness, like a quiet melody playing in the background of your soul, a reminder, a promise, a gentle whisper that never fades. Stay ready, stay close, stay faithful. And you do, not perfectly, but sincerely. And step by step, breath by breath, day after day, you keep moving forward with that same steady heart, that same quiet fire glowing inside you, that same sense that something unseen is drawing nearer and nearer, like the air itself feels charged with expectation, like heaven is leaning closer to earth, like history is slowly reaching a moment it has been waiting for since the beginning. And you keep walking calmly through it all, eyes lifted, spirit awake, listening, trusting, continuing forward without fear.
Without fear, without hurry, just steady, like someone walking toward a sunrise they already trust. And the strange thing is, the closer you feel to heaven, the more present you become on earth. You don't escape life, you lean into it. You start noticing people more carefully, the tired cashier forcing a smile, the old man sitting alone on a bench, the kid laughing too loud without a care in the world. Tiny human moments, small scenes most people scroll past, but to you they feel sacred now, because every person suddenly looks eternal, not just bodies passing by, but souls, souls that will live forever somewhere. And that thought changes everything. It makes you kinder, softer, more patient. You don't snap as quickly. You don't argue as hard. You don't need to win every conversation anymore. Because what's the point of winning arguments and losing hearts? So you choose grace over and over, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you pride. You forgive faster. You love louder. You pray for people silently while they're talking to you. Little whispers in your mind like, God, help them. God, protect them. God, show them you're real. You don't even plan it. It just happens naturally, like your heart has learned a new language. And sometimes you surprise yourself because you remember how you used to be, easily irritated, constantly stressed, always chasing something, more money, more approval, more control. But now you just want more of Him, more peace, more truth, more closeness. Everything else feels smaller, not useless, just secondary, like background noise compared to the main melody. And the world keeps moving fast, faster every day. Technology racing, opinions clashing, everyone shouting to be heard. But you don't feel the need to shout anymore, because truth doesn't need volume, it just needs light. So you focus on shining quietly, being steady, being consistent, showing your faith through actions more than words, helping someone carry groceries, calling a friend who seems distant, giving when no one's watching, choosing honesty when lying would be easier. Simple things, but powerful things. Because you've realized big faith is built from small daily obedience, not dramatic moments, not giant speeches, just tiny choices repeated every day. And those tiny choices slowly shape you. You feel it happening, like your heart is being refined, smoothed, strengthened. Old fears losing their grip, old habits fading away, like winter melting into spring. And there are moments, random, unexpected moments, when you suddenly feel overwhelmed with gratitude. Not because something amazing happened, but just because you're alive, breathing, saved, loved, chosen. You'll be standing somewhere ordinary, washing dishes, walking down the street, sitting alone, and your chest fills with this quiet emotion, almost tears, because it hits you all at once. I didn't deserve this grace, but He gave it anyway. I didn't earn this hope, but He promised it anyway. And that realization humbles you, softens you, makes worship feel natural, not forced, not religious, just honest, just real. Sometimes you don't even use words, you just look up at the sky and smile, like God already understands, like He sees your heart without explanation. And nights feel deeper now too, quieter. When the city settles down and lights turn off one by one, you feel that stillness wrapping around everything, almost like the whole world is sleeping, but your spirit is awake, listening, watching, waiting. You lie there staring at the ceiling, imagining how close eternity might actually be. Not far away, not someday, but right here, just beyond sight. Like another dimension brushing against this one, like heaven overlapping earth in ways we can't fully see yet. And you wonder, how many angels are moving around unseen right now? How many prayers are being answered quietly? How many plans is God setting into place that we don't even know about? It makes the world feel bigger, but also safer, because nothing is random, nothing is accidental. Everything is moving according to a perfect design. Even delays, even pain, even waiting, especially waiting, because waiting shapes the heart. Waiting teaches trust. Waiting builds faith muscles you didn't know you had. And you feel those muscles stronger now, stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than uncertainty. Like no matter what happens next, you'll be okay, because you're not standing alone. You never were. And as another day slowly begins to form, as the sky shifts from dark to soft gray, as the first light quietly spills across the horizon, you breathe in that cool morning air again, feeling that same gentle pull upward, that same invisible closeness, like heaven isn't distant, but leaning nearer, like the space between here and there is growing thinner with every passing moment. And you keep walking forward with calm steps, steady faith, eyes lifted, heart open, moving through the world softly, carefully, expectantly. Expectantly, like every sunrise is carrying a secret. You step outside, and the air feels fresh, almost new, like the world has been quietly reset while everyone was asleep. The streets are still half empty, the sky painted in soft blues and golds. birds calling to each other like they know something beautiful is coming. And for a second, everything feels perfectly still, like creation itself is waiting, not rushing, not anxious, just waiting. You take a slow breath and feel it fill your lungs, cool and clean, and there's this strange thought that passes through your heart. What if heaven feels like this all the time? This peace, this clarity, this quiet joy? Because sometimes the world accidentally gives you tiny previews, little glimpses, moments that feel too pure for earth, and you recognize them now. They feel like reminders, like whispers from God saying something better is ahead. So you walk a little slower, not because you're tired, but because you don't want to miss anything. You notice the way light hits the trees, the way shadows stretch across the sidewalk, the way ordinary life keeps unfolding like a movie scene. And you realize this is the part most people overlook, the in-between, the waiting season. But maybe this is the most important part of all, because this is where character is built, where faith is tested, where trust becomes real. Anyone can believe when miracles are happening, but believing during silence, that's different, that's deeper. And you feel that depth forming inside you, like roots pushing further underground. Storms may shake the surface, but underneath, you're anchored, solid, unmovable. People around you still stress about everything, deadlines, money, opinions, reputation, and you understand it, you really do. But at the same time, you feel slightly detached, like you're watching life from a higher place, not disconnected, just not controlled by it anymore. Because how can temporary things control you when eternity is already promised? So you start carrying yourself differently, shoulders lighter, steps calmer, voice softer. There's no rush in you anymore, no desperate chasing, just trust, deep, steady trust, like a river flowing exactly where it's meant to go. And sometimes you think about how strange it is, how millions of people are living their lives right now without ever thinking about what comes next, without ever looking up, without ever asking bigger questions. Eat, work, sleep, repeat, over and over, like this world is all there is. And your heart aches for them, not in judgment, but in compassion, because you remember when you lived that way too. Before hope changed everything, before faith gave life meaning, before you realized this world is just a chapter, not the whole book. So you pray for them quietly while walking past, while sitting near them, while standing in line. Soft prayers no one hears. Open their eyes, draw them close, let them feel your love. Because if the promise is real, if the moment is truly coming, you don't want anyone left unprepared. And that desire grows stronger every day. Not fear for yourself, but love for others. A gentle urgency, a quiet fire in your chest, like time matters more now, like every conversation could matter forever. So you speak life more often, encouragement, hope, kindness. You never know which word might change someone's heart. And while all this is happening, while life keeps moving normally, there's still that feeling, that steady awareness, like something invisible is aligning behind the scenes, like heaven is getting closer with every tick of the clock. You can't explain it, you can't prove it, but you feel it, deep in your spirit, like the air before rain, like the hush before music starts, like the world is quietly holding its breath. And sometimes at night, when everything goes silent again, you lie there staring out the window at the stars, thinking about how thin the distance really is between here and eternity,
how one heartbeat separates now from forever, how one single moment could change everything you've ever known, and instead of fear, you feel that same calm warmth spreading through you, that same steady readiness settling deeper into your soul, like you were made for this exact season of waiting, like every step, every prayer, every quiet act of faith has been preparing you for something just beyond sight, something approaching gently, steadily, closer and closer.
Closer and closer, like the distance between heaven and earth is thinning with every breath you take. And one day, you wake up and everything feels different. Not louder, not brighter, just heavier, like the air itself carries expectation, like the world is standing on the edge of something unseen. You sit up slowly, heart steady but alert. There's that same quiet pull inside your chest again, stronger this time. Not fear, never fear, just awareness, like your soul already knows something your mind hasn't figured out yet. You walk to the window. The sky looks normal. Soft clouds drifting, morning light stretching across rooftops, birds moving like always, cars passing like always. Everything looks the same, but deep down, you know nothing is the same. Because today, your faith feels sharper, clearer, like every promise you've ever read suddenly feels alive. You whisper a small prayer, not long, not complicated, just honest. Whatever happens, I'm yours. And those words feel final, complete, like surrender in its purest form. The day moves forward. Simple things, normal things, a conversation here, a smile there, helping someone without them even realizing it mattered. Little pieces of love scattered through your day. Because if this really is just a temporary world, then kindness is the only thing worth leaving behind. Afternoon passes quietly. The sun starts dipping lower, painting everything gold. And for some reason, the light feels different, warmer, deeper, like the whole sky is glowing from within. You stop walking, just stare up, heart beating slow, calm, peaceful, and suddenly you understand something so clearly it almost makes you laugh. You were never meant to figure out the day. You were never meant to predict the hour. You were only meant to be ready. That's it. Not scared, not stressed, just ready. And you are, completely. There's nothing left to hold on to. No anger, no regret, no unfinished surrender. Just trust. Pure, steady trust, like a child reaching for a parent's hand. The world keeps moving around you. People talking, wind blowing, leaves rustling. But everything feels softer now, distant, like Earth itself is gently fading into the background. And your heart feels lighter than it has ever felt, almost weightless, like gravity is losing its claim on you, like you were never designed to stay here forever, like you've always belonged somewhere higher, somewhere brighter, somewhere closer to Him. You close your eyes for a second and breathe in deep. Peace fills every corner of your soul. Not excitement, not adrenaline, just peace. The kind of peace that passes understanding, the kind that wraps around you like warm light. And in that stillness, you realize something beautiful. Waiting was never about counting days. It was about becoming kinder, becoming stronger, becoming more like Christ. Because heaven isn't just a destination, it's something God was building inside you the whole time.
Every prayer shaped you. Every trial refined you. Every quiet act of faith prepared you. Nothing wasted, nothing random, all leading here, all leading to this calm, steady moment. So you open your eyes again, look up at the sky, smile softly, and instead of searching for signs, instead of wondering when, instead of asking how, you simply whisper, "I'm ready." And you keep walking forward with that same gentle faith, that same quiet fire glowing in your chest. Steps slow, heart steady, eyes lifted toward the light above, moving peacefully through the world, without fear, without hurry, completely at rest, completely trusting, completely held.